Hey all! Today I am going to share the tips and tricks to make your drawings realistic. If you are passionate about digital art and have been exploring the Procreate app, you might have come across the term Procreate realism techniques. But what does it mean? Simply put, it's about using certain techniques in Procreate that can make your digital art look incredibly lifelike. Let's dive into some of the most effective Procreate realism techniques that can take your digital art to the next level. So, there are four main things. Number one, create depth with layering. Number two, use blending for smooth transitions. Number three, implement light and shading. And number four, apply textures for realistic details. Now let's learn about creating depth with layering. One of the first steps towards achieving realism in Procreate is creating depth in your artwork. And layering is a fantastic way to do this. Layering helps build complexity and volume in your images, making them more lifelike. So, what are the basics of layering? Layering in Procreate works much like it does in traditional painting. You start with the base layer, the foundation of your piece, and then add more layers on top to create depth and detail. Here's how it works. The base layer. This is your starting point. It could be a simple sketch or a flat color. Detail layers. These are added on top of the base layer. They can include shading, highlighting, and texturing. And the top layers. These are the final touches. They can be used for fine details or to adjust the colors and tones of the entire piece. Layering is just one of the many Procreate realism techniques that can elevate your digital art. With patience and practice, you'll soon be creating pieces that are rich in depth and detail, making them look impressively realistic. let's learn about blending for smooth transitions. Now that we have talked about layering, let's move on to another key aspect of procreate realism techniques, which is blending. Blending is like magic. It is what helps you create smooth transitions between colors and tones, making your artwork look more natural and lifelike. In the real world, colors don't abruptly change. They transition smoothly from one to another. That's where blending comes in. It's all about making those transitions in your digital art look smooth and seamless, just like they would in real life. But how do you do it? I'll tell you. Smudge tool. The smudge tool in Procreate is your best friend when it comes to blending. You can use it to gently smudge colors together, creating those smooth transitions. And with brushes. Certain brushes in Procreate are designed specifically for blending. For example, airbrushing. Experimenting with them can give you different blending effects. Implement light and shading. Alright, let's shine a light on the next technique, quite literally. To make your digital art shine with Procreate realism techniques, you need to implement light and shading. These elements can give your art a 3D look, making it seem as though it's popping right off the screen. Lighting is literally a game changer in your art. It can set the mood, highlight important details, and give your work a sense of depth and dimension. Here's how you can work with the light. Directional light. Consider where your light source is coming from. This will affect how the light hits your subjects and creates shadows. Play around with how strong or weak your light source is. A strong light can create high contrast, while a weaker light can produce a more subtle, soft effect. To achieve Procreate realism, you'll need to create realistic colors. Here's how. Look at the world around you. Pay attention to how colors look under different lighting conditions and try to replicate that in your art. Rarely are colors in real life a straight hue from the color wheel. Mix your colors to create more realistic hues. Realistic coloring is not just about the colors themselves, it is also about how light affects those colors. Use shadows and highlights to give your colors depth and dimension. Color theory might seem a bit complex, but once you get the hang of it, it can transform your digital art. So go ahead and add some color to your procreate realism techniques. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty literally. Textures are the little details that can make a big difference in your digital art. They bring a sense of touch to your work, making it feel more real and tangible. Let's see how you can add textures to your procreate art for a realistic touch. Before we start applying textures, let's understand what they are. This is the actual feel of your art surface. It could be rough like sandpaper, smooth like glass, or anything in between. This is what your art looks like it feels like. It's all about creating the illusion of a texture, even though the surface is flat. Procreate comes with a variety of brushes that you can use to create different textures. You can also download additional brushes or create your own. You can use layers to add textures. Try using a textured brush on a new layer and then changing the blend mode to see what effects you can create. Another shading secret is don't just use a darker version of the same color for shading. Experiment with different tones to add depth and richness to your work. Shading is a sibling of light. It's all about creating depth and dimension through shadows. Here's how to shade like a shadow master. The first step in shading is to identify your light source. The areas furthest from the light will be darker. Avoid sudden changes from light to dark. Gradual shading creates a more realistic effect. That's all. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos and press the bell icon.